everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is April if you're new here, and today we're doing another ultimate guide video, but today is the ultimate guide to spooky season books. I have a lot. I have been creating this list for probably several weeks, and of course the more time I create it, the more books I add. I have almost over 60 books. I don't know if I'll talk about all of these books in this video, but I'm gonna talk about a lot of them. So I hope you're ready for this. We have vampires, we have werewolves, we have mummies, we have zombies, we have haunted places, scary houses, and even some bonus rounds of my favorite spooky movies. Before we get started, no, I have not read every single one of these books. These are either going to be books I've read or books that I want to read because they just sound freaking cool. So if you've read some of these, let me know if you liked it or not. All right, let's get right into it, and we'll start out with vampires. The first book we're going to talk about is Your Coffin or Mine by Jacqueline Hyde. This book is about a social media influencer who was wronged by her fiance, so she took her honeymoon trip and she went to Romania instead, to a very gothic mansion. And then you have some vampires, well, one vampire who is Dracula, and his friend the werewolf, who are trying to start a like Airbnb type business with this very gothic castle. And the vampire is not happy about it. He is not happy about it. He's very grumpy about it. However, he is very, very attracted to said young influencer. This one is just really kind of cute. Also, this hero is really into boobs, specifically her boobs, which I just thought was hilarious. The Vampire's Bargain by Jasmine Walt. This is a book that I've been dying to get to for so long, honestly. This is about a vampire hunter, and she was betrayed and locked into like a magical prison. And then when she's finally released, guess what? It's by a very powerful vampire lord, and he's asking for her help. I have been dying to read this book. It just sounds epic and cool, and I really just need to get to it. And again, this is by Jasmine Walt, and she's an indie author that I've really grown to love, so I want to read it. Of course, I can't have vampires without Karina Halley. This is Blood Orange, one of my favorite vampire books. This is the vampire that inspired Dracula and a witch hunter trying to take him down. This is a teacher-student story. They deal with music, and it includes like a pipe organ. And I find it really odd that they made this sexy. I don't know, but it was really good, very steamy, very spicy. And altogether, just a really cool book. I really enjoyed it. This is also set in Venice, which is such a cool atmosphere as well. And then if you like things like The Vampire Diaries or True Blood or any of that, I think you might like Reborn Yesterday by Tessa Bailey. This has to deal with vampires. And then, well, it starts out with her being a doctor in the morgue, and she's studying this body that just came in. And what do you know? It sits straight up and is like, haha, it was a joke. Sorry about that. I'm gonna take off now. And she's like, what? And of course, he sniffs her out and just wants to be with her a little bit more, but not really, because he also doesn't want to hurt her because he's a vampire. It starts out that way. This has much bigger, broader world and kind of political dynamics in this. There's a lot of things about this particular vampire helping out other vampires who are just turned and having them find their way. This is also a story about three like different brothers and friends, and then finding their own heroines in the story. I really thought this one was cool. It's very different from Tessa Bailey's other contemporary romances. Not super funny, but it has comedic elements in it, but also tons of vampire action. I really liked it. And then if you want like more fantasy vampires, definitely check out Carissa Broadbent's books. Six Scorched Roses is a novella that I find extremely good. There's a plague happening in this town, and she's trying to find a cure, and she's trying to work with the vampire on the hill that's alone, and in his gothic castle she offers him 6 roses in exchange for his blood so she can find a cure. This is one of my extremely most famous STEMinist heroines ever. I absolutely love her, and yeah, I really loved this book. It doesn't feel like a novella. It feels like a full-fledged book. It's great. And then I want to recommend The Blood is Life. This is by Ariella Isabella. This book is like a one night stand gone wrong, and it's really great, and it's really gruesome, and it's really strange. And I really wish there was more books in this series, but she hasn't wrote it yet. So yeah, there's only one book in the series, but I really, really hope she continues with it because I just found this so intriguing, especially from a very young author. This is probably one of the first books she wrote, but I really, really enjoyed it. All right, werewolves. Can't have spooky season without werewolves, right? And I think we'll start with Ivy Asher. This book, Into Their Woods by Ivy Asher, I'm dying to read because because it just says, I don't know what in the fucked up Red Riding Hood roleplay is going on here, but I'm desperate, terrified, and not ready to die. That line alone makes me want to read this book. It's about a girl in the woods finding several werewolf men who want her. And then we have a book called Wolf King. This is fantasy romance, and this cover honestly just really drew me in. I've had this on my list for a while now. This is about humans and werewolves are at war with each other. One day this princess, she goes to these illegal dog fights where they're turning werewolves into fighting combatants. And she sees a young wolf pup there and she saves him. And then the alpha king wolf, whatever, from the other opposite side, he really wanted that person to die for some reason. So he's like, all of a sudden she's on his radar, and it's kind of their relationship together. So this one sounds really cool. It sounds more political fantasy type of wolf story rather than paranormal. And that's why I put it on this list. And then we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Vampire girl has to marry a werewolf guy. I have not read this yet. This is actually a friend's copy that we are all tabbing together and sending it along to each other and reading it as like buddy reads. But I have heard everyone really liking this book. I will be reading it this month. I will be, okay? I haven't liked Ali Hazelwood's other books yet, but I do think I will enjoy this one. Then we have Bred by the Wolfman. This is more like a steamy, sweet romance with a werewolf. Dee wants to earn some money, so she decides to carry a monster's baby for a fee. And of course, the monster that she chooses is this werewolf named Bill. This ends up being just a very functional relationship between the two, blossoming into more. So I think this is just something a little different and sweet and cute than your average paranormal, which is why it's on this list. The Art of Avoiding Your Werewolf by Lola Glass. This is just a cute, fun werewolf rom-com, whereas she is kind of like an illegal hybrid of a vampire werewolf, and he carts her off to jail right away. However, she needs his help to run away from a like deranged vampire clan or something like that. Also, she can't seem to stay away from him. So this one just sounds really cute. Someone in my team on the readathon recently read this and really, really enjoyed it. So I definitely want to read this one. And then we have How to Flirt with a Naked Werewolf by Molly Harper. Molly Harper is a great romantic comedy writer. She writes a lot of paranormal, and this one is very, very cute. You have a girl who recently like took off to Alaska, so she's in Alaska now, and immediately she's in a diner, and what do you know, her werewolf mate scents her. He's trying to keep his distance from her, and she's just like trying to figure out like starting up her new cabin and everything, but there's so much junk in her cabin that she's cleaning it and throwing it all out. And of course she's throwing out mold food and dead rats and stuff out the window, and that's bringing other predators into her property. So like this werewolf man is trying to keep all those predators away from her, and he's just like, why are you keep doing this? You're making it hard for me. And I honestly really, really loved this. You get to know a lot of other werewolf types in this book with brothers and sisters and packmates and everything, and I just think this is such a cute little book. It's older, but I really enjoyed it. Mummies. There wasn't a lot of mummies, okay? There wasn't a lot of mummies, but I found a few because one of these books has been on our Weird Ass Romance book club list for some time, and we haven't read it yet, but I really wanted to. This one's called Taken and Seduced by the Mummy. It's a weird book. I don't really want to know too much about it. Yeah, 37 pages. Okay, 37 pages. We are going into that one blind at some point. And then we have Unwrap My Heart. This one is about a girl who is just a normal high school girl, worried about getting her homework done and looking cool until he shows up. He's covered in bandages. He's so mysterious. She thinks he's just a hipster. Gee, I wonder what he actually is. Yeah, this is another novella. All of these are gonna be kind of stupid, but I love these type of books. They make me smile and laugh all the time. And then we have Mummy. Sorry, Mummy. Sorry. This is by Latrexa Nova. It is BDSM and it is a female male book. Need I say more? It's going to be a little dark and kinky, and it has to do with mummies. That's all I got. Ghosts is the next category. The first book is You're So Dead to Me by Stephanie Holmes. This is more of like paranormal mystery probably than romance, but there's a little bit of a romance in it. She can see ghosts and they have unfinished business and she has to help them with it. This one is humorous, the heroine's snarky. That's kind of what Stephanie Holmes is known for, and I'm sure it's going to be a good time. Then we have Ghost Walk by Cassandra Gannon. Cassandra Gannon again is another like more comedic. Her humor is more dry, on the dry side, but I really enjoyed some of her books. This book follows a crime scene investigator who is very like solid in her beliefs of facts and science, and she somehow stumbles upon a pirate who has been dead for a long time. He was hanged for a crime he didn't commit and needs her help to solve that mystery and move on. This also includes time travel, so we'll see how that plays out because I have no idea. Then we have Ghost by Kat Blackthorne. This is more horror occult romance, so it's very dark. He's inhabited the body of somebody. He's slaughtered people, but obviously he's wants to do something to her. I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm thinking it's both. This book says this is a grown-up ghost story for anyone who loves Halloween and is ready to meet and fall in love with their new favorite monster. I think it looks kind of cool. Like, it looks more on the darker side, and I'm down with that. And then we have Halloween Boo. This book is about a haunted apartment, and she knows it's kind of haunted, and she's kind of living with that idea. However, on every other day, he's dead except October 31st when he can be in corporeal form. And of course, he's fallen in love with the girl who's in his apartment. This one is like a steamy little novella as well. Zombies. Zombies might be my favorite character of Halloween. Like, I am absolutely obsessed with zombies, so I found quite a few in this category. The first one's going to be Zombies and Zippers. I've been dying to read this book. The synopsis is so gross. The synopsis is so gross. I'm not gonna read it, but just know you should go check it out if you want to be a little grossed out because it uses words like slick. Anyways, camper, somebody unzips the tent, and they aren't exactly human. That's all I gotta say. I'm dying to read this book. Most zombie books are more like apocalyptic books, and I think this is more so some of the other ones. This is Love in the Time of Zombies, also by Cassandra Gannon. There are zombies, vampires, werewolves, and everything like this set in Las Vegas. And she's on the run. She's on the run from not only a rampage of zombies, but her boss, who may be a werewolf. He also may be a vampire. I'm not sure. But again, Cassandra Gannon, it's gonna have that dry humor and it's gonna be super fun. And then we have Life and Limb. This book is a Stuff Your Kindle Day find that I've had on my Kindle for a really long time and I need to read it. It's a Why Choose Zombie Apocalypse book. They're in the zombie apocalypse. She's a mercenary. She has to find this set of blueprints that has gone missing, and her boss teams her up with 4 other men for all their skills, and they're trying to make it through the zombie apocalypse by finding these blueprints. But also, why choose? They have the hots for each other. I hope they hunker down in a space and have to cuddle for warmth or more. Letty and the Last Stiffs. Honestly, I put this on here because this sounds like a name of a band. Like, I so want this to be the name of a band, honestly. This is another zombie apocalypse YA Cheese book. It promises to be action-packed, which I love. I love a lot of action in my books. It keeps the plot moving, and especially in these kind of odd ones. Ooh, she's invisible to zombies, and that makes her the ultimate weapon. She can apparently weave through the crowd and get to where she needs to go. Her life is about to change when she meets a group of ex-military men in a hospital. I wonder what they get up to. And then we have Resurrecting the Witch. I did read some of this book. I did not finish it just because I wasn't into it at the time. However, this is like a dating app thing. It's a blind date that a witch is gonna have with a zombie. And it's just a romantic comedy between a witch and a zombie. And they're both looking for love. It's adorable. What I read of it was very adorable. Speaking of witches, let's do witches next. Starting out with Charming Your Dad. This is about a witch who uses a spell for revenge on her cheating ex-boyfriend. However, the spell is by bewitching his dad. That's what you do. Is the best revenge not getting with your ex-boyfriend's dad? I guess. If you want a really good series of witches, just read every Juliet Cross book from the Stay a Spell series. Like, read them all. They're all about witches. So they're all in this witchy town, and they all get with different paranormal beings, like a Grim Reaper, a werewolf, a vampire, all of the things, okay? These are all adorably cute. You can't go wrong with this whole series. Like, you just can't. The Coven by Harper L. Woods. This is more like Adventures of Sabrina type book. That's the vibes that I got from this one. You will hear names like Hecate. There's this dark atmospheric vibe to it. And then you have a heroine who's very much like, not today, Satan. Okay, very much like that. That was The Coven for me. I really enjoyed this book. Really enjoyed this book. It has a lot of my catnip in it. Like, it's just a fun time. Then we have Wicked Moon. So this is by Ruby Rain, and I found this book really interesting because this book is the adult version of this book. However, she does have a YA version of this book called We Witches 3. So if you want like way less steam and everything like that, go read that book. But I'm going to talk about this one. This one is you have 3 remaining witches left, but one of them has been bitten by a werewolf, so she's trying to stay away from humans. And unfortunately, a body was found with one of their family members, so they have to work to clear their name. And then we have Witches Get Stuff Done. This is also, again, by Molly Harper. Again, I think she's kind of like a paranormal queen. And this is a witchy rom-com. Those are my favorites. Like, I love a good witchy rom-com. This one says, juggling newfound witchy powers, a house full of ghosts, and verbal battles with the handsome local librarian is almost too much for a new witch to manage, but falling in love with said librarian wasn't on her to-do list. So this one sounds just like a really cute, like almost a small town witchy romance, which I love those. Speaking of small town witchy romances, definitely got to read The Ex-Hex. This is again with a family of witches and then some competing, I think they're called warlocks, male witches. It has to do a lot with Wales. All of the men are Welsh, and honestly, this one is just really cute. The whole series is really cute. I really loved it, especially the second book. I think the second book was my favorite, but start with The Ex-Hex because this one is really good too. Magic gone wrong in the town, and these 2 competing families have to work together to solve this mystery of why magic is kind of going haywire in their town. The Devil Made Me Brew It. Honestly, if you have a punny title, I am gonna put it on a list somewhere. This is one of them. This says it's Lucifer meets practical magic, and you had me at there, okay? I love both of those. Opposites attract, witchy rom-com, sass, spice, and small town charm. Again, all of the small town witchy rom-coms can just come here to me. I will read them all. And then very quickly, I have an other category. These are just other creatures that I couldn't put in any of the creature features. First one being Burn for Jack, Pumpkin King, okay? Pumpkin King romance. Quick, fun, really enjoyed. Then we have Seduced by the Swamp Creature. This one seems more summer horror-ish. However, Swamp Creature, nice guy. Nice guy, honestly. I had to put him in here because we love a good creature feature anyways. Yes, she's in a swamp. She meets a swamp creature. Bada bing, bada boom. Then of course we have to throw in a Holly Wild, Halloween. This one is coming out very soon if it's not out already. Haven't read it yet. Sentient object romance. I'm assuming this picture has something to do with it. Of course, we have Beetlejuice, Chuck Tingle. Enough said. And then we have Frankie's Funhouse by Beatrix Hollow. Horror romance with an animatronic being who might also be killing people. Masked Men. I specifically created this category for Steph from My Kind of Stuff and Jenny. They're the ones that are introducing me to all types of masked men. Specifically this book, Lights Out. This book is about a girl who loves masked men on like TikTok and everything, and she sends a text message to meet up with one of them. And they're all for it. However, the person that answers the door isn't necessarily the person that she sent a text to. It's a bit of a stalker situation. It is male, male, female. So there are 3 involved. And also it just says there's a lot of banter and they said it was really funny. So there's that book. And then we have Meet Me at Midnight by Lux Oleander. This one again deals with a final girl and a stalker and a masked man. It does say rival serial killers in it. And he's loved his final girl for life and tonight is the night he's gonna take her life. It sounds fun to me, honestly. It just sounds fun. Carnival Monster. I think I sent her the cover of this book and Steph was like, oh yes. And this one is about a girl with a lot of trauma and baggage, and she's kind of a thrill seeker. And when the carnival comes to town, she meets Gage, who is a masked man with his own issues. And then we have Trick or Treat. This one is giving I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes in the synopsis. She said she was a good girl and always followed the rules until one night. Her and her friends have a secret, and through the years they're kind of slowly dying off for a reason, and one night she is taken captive by 4 masked strangers. And of course it's on Halloween. So definitely a good Halloween book. And then we have Carving for Kara. This one as well is kind of about a guy in the shadows on Halloween night, or I'm sorry, until the Devil's Night. I'm assuming that's Halloween. And he wasn't afraid to kill for her, stalks her as prey, and he's the predator. Yeah, a lot of these have the same similar themes to it, so I'm really curious about a lot of them. Haunted Places is the next category. This is The Guest with Claws. This book is in like a haunted hotel with a bunch of different creatures in it. So is it really haunted, or is it just like some monster who likes her and is stalking her in the hotel? I don't know. Then we have Hellgate. This one is kind of set in an abandoned graveyard at a girl's home. Local legends claim that in this graveyard there is the gate to hell. And of course she opens the gate because what else would we do? And then we have A Dead and Stormy Night. This again is by Stephanie Holmes, so you're gonna get a more humorous book. And this one is in Nevermore Bookshop, so a haunted bookshop. This does follow characters of Edgar Allan Poe. Hannah from Hannah Blackwell, she's read this and she really enjoyed it. So I do want to get to this one at some point. And then we have Dating and Dismemberment. This is kind of like competing ghouls or spirits who are trying to haunt this summer camp, and it's a rom-com with them too. So this one has always been on my list. It just sounds really cute. I don't know if it's YA or adult, but I love the cover of this. I just think the creatures that they are, like one has tentacles, like I don't know, for something about that is great. And it is Camp Clear Lake, so that alone tells me I need to read this. And then we have Hollow Hellions, which is pitched as this pitch black horror erotica in an abandoned circus or carnival setting. This is definitely promising to be super dark, so check the trigger warnings if you read this one, but it has a lot of sadistic type of scenes in it, I think. And this one is sort of haunted, but more cutesy. Haunting Ever After by Jen DeLuca. This is set in a small seaside town in Florida, and they're kind of leaning into the hauntedness and the ghost town-ish or the ghost houses-ish. In fact, in this one, they're kind of setting up a ghost tour throughout their houses to make some money. And the last category I have is retellings. A lot of these are retellings of movies. or other books. The first we have is Myers, and this one is a Halloween retelling. I have literally never heard of a Halloween retelling, but color me intrigued. And then we have one of my favorite books almost ever, again with Karina Halley, Hollow. This is a Sleepy Hollow retelling with Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman, and of course Katrina. That's her name, Katrina. All the Sleepy Hollow vibes with this one. Highly, highly, highly recommend reading this one for Halloween. And then we have Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match. This is, of course, a Frankenstein retelling of sorts. Angelica makes a perfect man and then tries to make that man her boyfriend, but things go awry. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. This is kind of a classic. I loved the movie of this. I've never read the book. I know there is a book, but honestly the movie was my favorite, so I would totally read the book of this as well. Also, this was just like a classic cool cover. And the last book is Alice in Zombieland. This of course is a Alice in Wonderland retelling, and this is just full of zombies instead. And this one is YA though, so this one is younger and not too spooky, just kind of a little dip your toes into spooky type of book, I think. Anyways, and here's your bonus of some of my favorite spooky season movies if you're interested. Shaun of the Dead is a classic. You Got Red on You. Love it. I absolutely love everything about it. Again, zombies. Sleepy Hollow, again, always has all the vibes for the spooky season, just like the mist coming off the ground, the mood, the colors. Everything about this movie is a joy to read in Halloween time. Also, The Addams Family. I mean, I cannot go a year without watching The Addams Family. I know Beetlejuice is huge right now, and I totally agree, but The Addams Family for me, that's where it's at. And then we have Elvira, Mistress of the Night. Again, this is just a stupid cult classic movie. I absolutely love it. Elvira is one of my favorite characters ever. She's just over the top and ridiculous, and I love everything about over the top shenanigans and ridiculous things. And then the last movie that I would add here is a new favorite of mine, and that is Renfield. Renfield, again, is another over the top gory movie about the assistant to Dracula and what he has to go to maintain that relationship, and that they're also having relationship problems. So Renfield goes to a what do they call it, like anonymous group for relationship advice. And it is amazing. I absolutely love it. Anyways, that is my ultimate guide. Hopefully I hit on a lot of things from very, very light spooky to like very, very dark spooky. I tried to get a little good mashup of everything. Let me know what your favorite spooky season book is that you cannot wait to read this year. I can't wait to hear about it. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe and like this video for more content from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!